Hey guys, what's up? It's Jules here for Whatculture.com, joined as ever by the tangled web of mess and lies that is Adam Cleary and the beautiful spider that will sting you full of venom, Ash. And we have just seen the new Spider-Man Homecoming trailer. But before we continue any further, as Tom Holland says himself, there are going to be massive spoilers for Endgame in our chat and breakdown of this trailer, so you have been warned, and we will give you a customary 5 seconds.
That's fine, yeah.
Right, okay, so guys, what do we think of this trailer?
Well, we heard yesterday that one was coming. We didn't know specifically it was going to be today, and the term that was getting bandied about was this isn't just a trailer for Spider-Man, it's also a big clue about what they're going to do for the entire future of the MCU. So obviously chins were being stroked all over the shop, and yeah, I guess we know which direction they're going with everything now.
I think you can sum it down into one and a hyphen other word, which is multiverse.
Yeah.
Multiverse.
Is multiverse a word or two words?
I think it's one word.
One word.
One word.
One word.
MCU stuff.
One word.
Multiverse.
Multiverse.
Yeah.
So basically they've confirmed in this trailer that it isn't just one timeline that people are zipping back and fixing, as was shown in Endgame. Instead, it's multiple realities of multiple worlds, because they have said that Mysterio is from Earth, just not our Earth. And he's looking very, very impressive, I must say, shooting his green lightning around. All right,
He's
looking
looking
in your pants.
He's looking very good.
Yeah. The thing is that with Mysterio is, for anyone who's a fan of the comics, will know that he's a bit of a trickster, a bit of a liar. He's
His name's Mysterio.
I know, well, it's because he's actually like a stage performer, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's like a magician who does lots of special effects tricks, and there's a stuntman and stuff like that.
So that helps being magic then.
It does, yeah. So, but a lot of people were speculating that maybe it was just some sort of special effects wizardry that was making him look like a superhero. Yet, as this shows, there was a few scenes in which his magic is clearly interacting with stuff that isn't the Titans. So I'd have to say that maybe he is actually magic in this realm. Maybe he's their Sorcerer Supreme.
I was going to say by magic we mean all the Doctor Strange stuff, manipulation. Yeah.
Which makes a lot of sense with the glyphs that you see.
Yeah, there is a lot of
around.
visual similarities between the stuff he's been doing. It's in both trailers and the stuff we've seen Doctor Strange doing with the patterns and the circles and the whatnot. And I really wish Ewan was here to tell me what the actual
mandalas.
Cool.
Yep.
Go for that.
Yep. No, sorry.
The Mysterio stuff was good, but I think they're trying to really pitch this as like the continuation of the Spider-Man Iron Man story, because as Tom Holland literally front loads the trailer with "Don't watch this if you've not seen Endgame," because the very first shot is a really sad mural of Iron Man and him being really sad that he is dead.
Yeah, and they said people are looking for the next Iron Man, aren't they? So it's looking at Spider-Man filling that role of the next big MCU hero. He's definitely going to do it, which we knew, but it's nice to say it.
Yeah, and it's like you can see the continuation of it quite easily in just the visual aspects, because we got to see 3 new suits, or maybe one.
Well, one new suit.
Yeah, so we've seen this. We get to see the Iron Spider suit, which is a gift from Tony to him, complete with all of its crazy sort of like poking limbs and
claws,
web shot stuff that it does. We got to see a more classic and maybe sort of more basic suit, which just had a simple symbol on the
Stark
front.
suit, it's called, yeah.
And then we had the Secret Wars.
Yeah,
suit.
again, I kind of wish you was here to specify this specifically, but the Spider-Man's never really had many black suits, I think I'm right in saying. And the one that appears to be given to him by Fury looks similar to the one he wears in Secret Wars. I'm sure someone will tell us it's not exactly the right one. It looks quite almost low budget. It's like burglar goggles and a balaclava.
I look like what he made himself. I thought that was like going to be a gimmick for it, that he just wears this big sock.
Well, there's the interesting thing is that in the video games, there's a Spider-Man's Shattered Dimensions, I believe it's called, in which you get to play as tons of different Spider-Men from different multiverse stuff, and one of them is Spider-Man Noir, and he has that
cool.
And he has that sort of gas punk sort of like.
Is that the Nick Cage one from?
No. That is in that one, but in the video games it's different.
There is a similar costume to it in the most recent Spider-Man video game. There is quite a similar costume to the one he's got on in this.
Yeah, so maybe it's
and I think
not.
That is the Secret Wars suit as well.
But the thing is that because the Secret Wars suit ends up being the symbiote, which is like Venom and stuff like that, which is a completely different tangential thing.
So there's Venom in this then.
But well, that's the thing. It doesn't look like it doesn't look like the exact suit. So I'm sure that the fans will clarify this. But bear in mind, it's just come out and we're just going straight off the hot of our heels, as it were. And there is so much action that was in this.
They've really ramped up the tone of the film, because it felt very much as like in the sort of same way Homecoming was a bit of a coming of age drama. This did feel like a bit of a road movie, a bit of fun time for a lot of teenagers. Now it's like, no, clearly it is all about the future of the MCU. That bit where he goes, oh, there must be somebody better than me. what about Thor or Captain Marvel? He's like, you've been to space.
Yeah, that was a great
The stakes
line.
are obviously really high in this, which is kind of, I mean, they weren't in Homecoming. It was just like a personal story.
Yeah.
Him becoming Spider-Man, learning what that means to be, and then how he's going to interact with him, and then the Vulture thing. This, it's like, oh, by the way, the universe is plural. Could end.
Yeah.
You have to sort that.
I think that's all in the title, isn't it, as well? Because it's got Homecoming, and then it's far from home, far away from that homely vibe. Ooh, glad I'm here.
The thing is that like I do have, this is probably my one bit of worry, my only bit of worry from this trailer, which is the fact that potentially the personal drama is weighted towards the Iron Man stuff, but I worry if the MJ sort of love story might take a back seat in this one, because they built up to it in the first film by suggesting that it was going to be followed up with as the main focal point for this. But this one, definitely the action is the front and centre spectacle.
That would kind of make sense to an extent, because obviously the first film is about how the most important thing in his life was his childhood, it was his teenage years, it was his friends, whereas this, if the story element of that has to take a backseat, that'll probably reflect nicely the fact that his life has in fact changed. He can't put like school and girls first, he has to be the new Iron Man, he has to put like superhero stuff first. It depends how they get the balance in the film.
We've seen a lot of like the MJ, Toby. I'm thinking of Tobey Maguire films.
Tobey Maguire,
There's a lot of MJ in the Tobey Maguire films, so I think that storyline's been done a lot, because obviously you have to have the Spider-Man origin going through. And I feel like them actually saying, no, we're going to focus on this new storyline, all this action stuff, and then the MJ thing is going to be a little thread through the middle is a much better way of doing it. And him like her already knowing as well is kind of like, yeah, cool, like she's a cool MJ.
Very, very, very true. We don't really get to see much of the Titans though, as in like, we get to see that they exist, and we get to see that they are a threat, but there is still no defining as to why they are attacking this specific area, which does lead back into a popular theory, which is that Mysterio still is the bad guy who is controlling all the strings and has potentially summoned the Titans so that he can be the hero of this world, because potentially he wasn't in his own world.
There's definitely there's a big hint of that when he's talking about, to be the hero sometimes we have to make sacrifices and sometimes people die. There's just that little carrot just dangling that actually he's not going to be really all that good. He'd have to be the baddie surely, because
I mean, I hope that he follows up that line in the film with, and unfortunately, it's you. That would be very dark.
Speaking of following up lines, I've got no doubt whatsoever that MJ bit we've seen in the trailer, where you're Spider-Man, it's pretty obvious. I've got no doubt whatsoever that's immediately followed up by, I'm just pulling it.
There's got to be.
You're a pube. You're obviously not Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And he's gonna be like, no, I'm not. I did part big that he said that he was a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Yeah. I'm enjoying that they're working that gimmick.
It's very much becoming his thing, because he said it in Infinity War. He definitely said it in Homecoming. That could just be his thing.
Yeah.
Holy crap! You don't think that? No, they won't.
Holy crap!
No, because if it was multiverse theory, and we were just talking about the Into the Spider-Verse.
No.
I know.
The studio.
But what if?
If that was another multiverse to that one, that would be such a good way of getting Miles Morales into it as well. Like eventually with the MCU stuff.
What, you just have this animated child running about in the MCU?
I'm not saying this is a good idea, but I'm just saying it.
But it is an idea.
It is an idea. And ideas of what we are made of, I think.
It was kind of a nice little, because it also said, Thor's off-world, Captain Marvel's unavailable. These
unavailable.
Yeah, look, she's just not around for anything.
They're all emotionally.
Possibly. There are presently no plans, I don't think, to do a fourth Thor film. They haven't officially confirmed whether they're doing Captain Marvel 2, but we do know that Spider-Man's going to be a trilogy. So do you think that's a little nod to that? Like, these are the characters we want you to put your investment in, because that's what you're going to get going forward.
That's perfect. I mean, it sets up the new Avengers, as it were, really, really well.
We do think there's going to be another Doctor Strange as well, so if the stuff that Mysterio does ties into that whole sorcerer thing, and that's again more groundwork laid for another character they're going to want us to invest in.
That's actually making a lot more sense now that I think about it.
Would Mysterio be the sort of person to be seeded as coming into the MCU, or is he always going to be a villain, like with the comic book stuff?
Well, this is the thing. They have, so far, the Avengers have kind of really trod the line as the comic books usually state. If they're a bad guy in the comic books, they usually are that. Like Nebula's probably the one accepted, like Gamora.
Nebula's been quite, from what I know, Nebula's been a bit of both of them. The major ones, the Skrulls, because they were obviously huge. Yes. Everyone thought that was going to be the direction we went in for the next 10, 15 films, and obviously they were sort of quite a sympathetic character. Their story was very different from what it was in the comics. So I think the groundwork's pretty much laid for them to do whatever they want with some of these heroes.
I mean, it would be quite interesting to see a lineup in which Mysterio, who often plays a bad guy, becomes a good guy on the Avengers side. I mean, there is, annoyingly, the name escapes me, but I know that in the storyline where Norman Osborn becomes president of the United States, he forms a new Avengers unit, which is actually made up of bad guys, but they pretend to do good work because they just let a few sort of bad stuff happen.
I'll tell you what nobody's really talking about. There's a Loki-shaped hole in the MCU of a recurring baddie who also was obviously got more than a couple of shades of grey about him to fill, because he sort of disappeared a bit. I know that's an alternate timeline. In this timeline we're in, there's no Loki anymore, who was, someone who was pitched as a bad guy, has been the big bad of certain films, but also been a very interesting character. And Jake Gyllenhaal's not the kind of actor you get in and just throw away if you can help it. He's one of the bigger names they've actually got.
That's true. He's a very good one to get in for this sort of thing. I think it would suit him well.
A recurring role where he's good and bad, I think, would be really interesting.
Well, I just thought you meant like low key as in low key.
Then
it was like, because obviously Loki does disappear in Endgame and could come back using the power of the Tesseract to maybe possess the Titans.
Well, he's in different universes, and we don't really know what the deal is with that.
Disney Plus series.
Yeah, but I think the way they're going to set that up is that's in that timeline, which doesn't exist in this timeline.
Yeah.
But now it's multiverses and everything.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
I mean, they pretty much do whatever they want, can't they?
To be fair, there was a ton to break down from that. We're probably missing one more point, which is talking about Happy Hogan.
Yeah.
Obviously, he had one of the most emotional moments of Endgame.
He's a bit of a rebrand, isn't he? Like,
he's a bit
stoic Hogan.
Yeah. I enjoyed the fact that his plane got destroyed, and he was like, "New plan!" like that.
That was in London, that scene, by the looks of it, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, he's on his European road trip.
Yeah. So we know we're getting.
It is in Europe.
We're getting Venice, London. Somewhere in Spain, I think. Did I read that somewhere?
Maybe.
I'm quite excited for this. We've been so underrepresented, us Europeans, in the MCU.
Well, every single time we've been there,
bad accents, aren't we?
What was that? And stuff gets destroyed. Do you remember Thor: The Dark World was set in London?
Yeah, but that was Greenwich.
How bad is that? The worst, and let's face it, is universally the worst MCU film.
Largely considered to be the worst one, yes.
And it's the only one where we get sort of like, oh look, it's Big Ben. Not anymore. It's Big Broke.
Oh, the tube's busy at rush hour. I popped for that bit.
Yeah, that was.
Although it's not the weirdest thing you see on the tube, though, in fairness. We've got enough topic.
Anyway, yeah, I'm getting a bit depressed actually, just thinking about how badly we've been
thinking about the tube, yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so I mean, have we got anything else to add to this?
I know Happy's the main one because he had his big cheeseburger moment. But
course.
he seems a really integral part of this, which is good because the banter between Peter Parker and Happy is some of the best stuff of the other films. So I'm down to see more of that, for him to be like, hey.
Especially if he becomes sort of a more sort of like surrogate father figure.
Well, they both got a big hole in their lives that are going to need filled. Tony being gone. I'd like to see. I think we're probably going to get a bit of Gwyneth Paltrow in this. I think Pepper could obviously feature quite prominently.
I don't know. I feel like she's going to take a step back because the whole thing is that Tony's been done by this whole arc. So I think her, and she's got Morgan now to look after as well. That's the lasting memory of Iron Man.
Last thing, she's another little kid running around.
Exactly.
I know, right?
I retract that point entirely. I do like that they are clearly trying to make this film a major part of going forward. I know we're going to have a bit of a break from Marvel films now, but it did sort of feel like this was a weird one to wrap up on because so much happened in Endgame. The word end is literally in the title. And then they've come out and said, actually, the end of Phase 3 is going to be Spider-Man Far From Home. I was like, why? I don't want like a teen comedy thing to round this all off. But it looks now that it's going to be of huge significance.
But it's not a teen comedy, and they're dropping fat multiverse lines into this. So
Fat Jake Gyllenhaal.
They're dropping some big moves with the multiverse thing to start that off as an ending and a beginning of the next phase, saying, okay, there's loads of different things that are going to go on with this. This is going to be quite a big movie, actually. Because like to begin with, it's all the Endgame stuff was washing me away with excitement, and I was like, oh yeah, cool, Spider-Man at the end.
Well, I mean, to see how this all connects to the MCU's larger web itself, make sure that you stay tuned to Whatculture, because we'll be bringing you tons and tons of news about this and all other sort of theories that will crop up, no doubt, as we get more and more information coming forward to its release. As always, I have been Jules. You can follow me at RetroJ with a 0 over on Twitter.
At Adam Cleary, CLERY.
At Ash Millman.
Always one person that seems to forget who they are. They get lost in the mix. And thank you so much, guys, for watching. Let me know what you think down below. And until then, we will speak to you soon. Bye!